Guest characters have always been part of the conversation for MultiVersus. Whether it's someone asking a dev if they're possible, a dev saying that they want anyone to be possible, or a random nerd getting mad at the idea that this game will eventually have non-Warner Brothers characters, even though the game just added LeBron James. Well, for all of the non-nerds, I have great news for you guys. The gates have been opened, and there are truly a ton of possibilities for MultiVersus. You see, the range of possible guest characters usually depends pretty greatly on the success of the game in question. Games like Smite are actually pretty limited. While they've gotten access to the Transformers and Nickelodeon characters, do you think that the game could afford to include characters from Disney? Sadly, probably not. The game is kind of niche, and I don't see the Avengers ever coming to the game. Now look at Fortnite, one of the most played games on Twitch and in general for the past 5 years. Fortnite has had the Avengers, Batman, Deadpool, Master Chief, Kratos, etc, etc, etc. The list genuinely goes on forever, and I could spend 30 minutes just listing every crossover the game has had. So what? What does this have to do with MultiVersus? Well, MultiVersus is the most played fighting game of all time, and it's broken that record twice. MultiVersus has reached 10 million players in just a couple of weeks, and it's a pretty damn big game already. All of these guest characters that players want, well, they're actually on the table. Now, I don't think these characters will show up anytime soon. I mean, negotiating for rights, coming up with unique gameplay ideas, and actually developing the character are all going to take some time. Honestly, for the first year of its life, I think MultiVersus will mostly just be sticking to WB characters to increase the roster size and build a foundation. I'm sure we'll see the occasional guest character like LeBron James or Godzilla, but oh boy, once that year is up, Sonic the Hedgehog, Optimus Prime, Master Chief, and yes, even Walter White. All of these characters are actually possible and kind of likely. I mean, this is a game that from day one the developers have said that there's no rule to getting into MultiVersus. They want anyone and everyone to be possible. So, let's go over some of the characters I think we could see just for fun. Before we discuss that in more detail though, I want to talk to the people who are adamantly against crossovers. Hey guys, you're playing the wrong game. Did you seriously think that a Smash-style fighting game from WB, the company best known for having crossovers in every single one of their fighting games, would be only limited to WB characters? Even characters from Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Godzilla would count as guest characters. WB doesn't own those franchises, guys. If you want to play a Warner-only fighting game, you can go play Injustice 1 or Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. There's no sense in ruining the fun for other players or for the developers. Don't forget that even the developers don't want this game to be limited to the characters under the Warner Brothers umbrella. And let's be honest, crossovers are good for the health of games. I mean, think about how many new players Goku and Walter White would bring in that'll spend money on the game. I went deeper into this fan rule in another video, and if you're still not convinced, I would go check that one out. Oh, and before we get back on target, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It actually helps immensely, and we're almost at 10,000 subscribers. That is just absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, if you want to help a humble little YouTuber reach 10,000 subscribers, go ahead and click that button. It'd help a lot. So, back on track. Which crossover should come first? I'm going to treat this section of the video as if someone from Player First Games is watching, and I'm basically going to recommend companies that would give the most bang for their buck in terms of characters. Obviously, the best answers are things like Disney or Shonen Jump, but I want to recommend some companies that would be easier to attain. So to start things off, I think Capcom is genuinely one of the highest priority companies right now. Capcom seems pretty willing to give out their IPs, and you can milk the hell out of Capcom. It kind of has access to a ton of beloved franchises. Street Fighter is white hot again thanks to Street Fighter 6 looking absolutely amazing, and I would love to see Ryu as well as Ken and Akuma skins for Ryu. Not to mention Chun-Li as another playable character would be hype. Then you can transition into Phoenix Wright and Dante, who were among the most requested characters for Smash, but they never got their chance. Resident Evil is a pretty huge franchise, and you could be the game to give Leon Kennedy his fighting game debut. That's right, both Smash and Marvel vs. Capcom missed out on Leon. With Resident Evil 4 Remake right around the corner, there's no better time to pursue Leon Kennedy. Also, since big bodies are a thing, Rathalos could actually serve as a rep for Monster Hunter, and that'd be pretty damn cool. Now, after Capcom, I think Sega needs to be a big priority just for Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic is one of the most requested characters for MultiVersus, and even Smash has dropped the ball in terms of representing the franchise. Sonic's moveset is probably the worst of any of the guest characters, and he's been the only Sonic rep since Brawl. Since MultiVersus is built around duos, I think it's the perfect game to bring in multiple Sonic characters. Imagine Sonic and Tails get revealed at the same time, like with Rick and Morty. I think a ton of people would freak out. Now, outside of Sonic, I think the only IP that interests a lot of people is probably Persona. I don't think Sega has as many valuable franchises as Capcom, but I think they have much higher highs than Capcom currently does. And you could absolutely get your money's worth out of just a couple of Sega IPs. Now, this next recommendation I think is going to piss people off, but I actually think Nickelodeon would be a great call for MultiVersus. But what about Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, nosy boy? Just go play that. Yeah, that's like saying go play Marvel vs. Capcom when people say they want Marvel vs. DC. It's obviously not the same thing at all. Do you know how incredible it would be to see SpongeBob in the same game as Cartoon Network icons? That is a dream come true. MultiVersus is absolutely different enough from Nickelodeon All-Stars for these characters to still be exciting inclusions, and come on dude, wouldn't Avatar: The Last Airbender go crazy in this game? I would love to see Aang team up with someone from the DC universe, and who knows, maybe MultiVersus could be the game where Aang gets to cross over with the Teen Titans. Seeing Avatar and Teen Titans in the same game would blow my mind. Not to mention that Avatar is going to go way up in popularity as the live action show comes out and as the animated movies start coming out. The Ninja Turtles have already been in a Warner Brothers fighting game, so why not another one? You could be Team This Is Where My Parents Died Raphael in MultiVersus. Nickelodeon seems to be one of the companies that's the most down to clown with crossovers, and adding the Nick characters could even help out Nick All-Stars. You guys need to understand that these two games are not competitors. They play completely differently, and to be honest, MultiVersus is just on another level. It's like saying that the Nickelodeon kart racers are genuine competition for Mario Kart. They're obviously not. But there's no company other than Shonen Jump or Disney that would be better for MultiVersus than Sony. Sony owns Breaking Bad, they own God of War, and they have the movie rights for Spider-Man and could help open the door to that character. And they even have a hand in The Boys. Nosy, Amazon does The Boys. Yeah, that's true, but Sony Pictures Television is listed with the owners of that show. That's right guys, Sony could not only open the door to Walter White, but Homelander as well. The PlayStation characters like Kratos, Sly Cooper, Aloy, Nathan Drake, and Ellie would also be crazy to see. Maybe this partial relationship already exists, since The Last of Us will be a show on HBO Max, but only time will tell. I think Sony would be the toughest company to play nice with out of all the ones I mentioned in this video, but MultiVersus is pretty dang successful, maybe they can make it happen. Not to mention, Tony used to work on the God of War games. He might still have some connections over at Sony. So yeah, long story short, we're probably going to be getting guest characters now that the game is a big hit. And yes, Walter White is genuinely possible. I would personally recommend going for Capcom, Sega, and Nickelodeon to start, since they are so open to crossovers. Obviously try for Disney, Shonen Jump, and Sony, but it might be easier to pitch to those companies if you've already had successful crossovers to aid in that pitch. Let me know what companies you'd like to see feature their characters in the comments down below. Subscribe and like the video since you've made it this far, and I'll smell you guys later.
Yeah. So.